Today in the crypto space, we see a bit of a dip throughout the market. Bitcoin down approximately 2.5%, and Ethereum right around 1550. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are pretty much coming down to lower levels, some deep retracements throughout the market. And the question is, could we be coming down to much lower levels so that we can accumulate at the bottom of the range? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one bullish project that a lot of us are waiting to accumulate, and that is called gains for a living. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it. Guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto, news, and price action. Guys, if you have any projects that you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, or hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Join the Discord, guys. The Discord is a great community, lots of good alpha trade setups, fundamentals, and all that good stuff. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Bitcoin coming down to lower levels, down approximately 2%, give or take. It's not a significant dip, but it's what it represents currently that is not the greatest. Down 2%, 2.2%. 3% in the last 7 days. As a large cap project, obviously Bitcoin being the largest cap in the crypto space, it does represent a lot of volume at the end of the day. It's a significant dip for its size. And then we see Ethereum 5% to the downside in the last little while, currently in an accumulation, in a potential sideways consolidation for a continuation. That's what could be happening here for Ethereum, coming down, breaking down to lower levels. Guys, if you missed out on my video yesterday on Ethereum, I think it's a good one. I think it's one that you should watch because it will give you an idea of what could be happening as a leading indicator that Ethereum could be to these altcoins, right? If altcoins come down, guys, they're going to come down hard and will definitely present us some good opportunities to get in some of the bullish projects, the lower cap, the mid caps, the micro caps that we are looking at here on the channel frequently. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Of course, Solana ranging sideways, Cardano dipping down slightly, and we see a lot of negativity throughout this market, and the negativity is basically everywhere. We have a few little projects going sideways like Chainlink, but nonetheless still down overall in the last 7 days. What else do we have here? Avalanche grinding away, down another 2%. And as we continue scrolling, we get a bit of relief here and there. We see a few little bounces, like Lido getting a bit of relief to the upside, but big picture still, to the downside, sideways to the downside. And we have VeChain coming down approximately 3%. We have Aptos. Look at Aptos, or Mantle and Aptos, both of them coming down, almost in double-digit dips, both of them. Guys, these are opportunities, definitely opportunities. Optimism, okay, 5%. There's a few dips here. Caspa, 15%. Guys, I feel like Caspa right now is at a potential level of support that we could get a short-term reaction to the upside. Okay, actually Caspa's price action is quite interesting currently. It's really, really technical, and I like the fact that it's respecting the TA. So this is why Caspa right now is right on my radar. If we break below diagonal support and even the slight basically horizontal support that Caspa's in, we could be coming down for a nice dip, a nice retracement, guys. And we've anticipated it, guys. We've been one step ahead of the market on Caspa, and I'm ready to deploy capital to buy the dips at lower levels. Why? Because I'm bullish. I am bullish on Caspa, and a lot of people don't like the idea of taking profits and anticipating negativity, but at the end of the day, that's the only way you can actually buy low and then sell high, right? Is anticipating those dips and preparing for them. Let's continue. The graph coming down a little bit, and a lot of these altcoins are still coming down. Nothing else can be said other than a lot of negativity. And then, of course, some people are questioning, could we continue? Could this be a continuation eventually to the downside? And my opinion is, overall, obviously none of this is financial advice, but overall, if we see Bitcoin roll over here and we see Bitcoin coming down and we continue seeing the negativity, guys, it could be that we see a continuation to the downside. Guys, tomorrow we have CPI data coming out. You know, at the end of the day, are the interest rates going to continue going up? Are inflation rates continue going up? And this is something that we got to consider, given that the PPI came out not the greatest today. So overall, the macroeconomics, the indicators that we use to justify or to, you know, gain insight into our traditional macroeconomic scenarios are not looking good. So let's see what happens. So far, the voting is that we don't get an interest rate hike and we kind of maintain the status quo, but you never know what could happen here, guys. So be prepared, okay? So the market right now is not looking the greatest overall. The consensus throughout is that we're still coming down, dips everywhere, some of them double digits in the last 7 days. So are we going to take advantages of this? Possibly. Let's take a look at Bitcoin to see if we can use it as an indicator, guys. I know you want to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Look at this little dip. It's not a big one, but it's definitely there. You know, dips on Bitcoin, even if they're little ones, they could definitely translate into bigger dips throughout the entire other market, which is the altcoin market. Now, if you kind of look at what's going on here with the momentum, it does have a lot to offer. So let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Or we can see that, you know, we did classify a bit of a divergence here on the MACD. Reason why I'm not so confident in it, but I definitely see it playing out right now, is that we're not getting confluence with the RSI. It doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to, but you can see as the price action was going up here, you know, we saw the momentum kind of shift here on the RSI, and we're getting an EMA cross with a red histogram bar to the downside, and we were able to snag this idea very, very early, prior to the dip, prior to all of this. And I was saying, guys, be careful, because if Bitcoin doesn't get overbought and we start breaking down based on this divergence, this would basically translate into a sell-off, and we are definitely seeing it right now. The reason why is because we're very close to the $25,000 level, and for me, this is the crucial level of support. 25k. If we break below 25k, it's not looking good whatsoever. And as a descending wedge that this could potentially be, you know, descending type of consolidation and touching this horizontal support many times, eventually it could be that we chip away at it and finally break down. And of course, we're talking about maybe about 22k to about 19k Bitcoin, and if it does come down to that level, expect that altcoins take a bit of a hit, guys, and we'll be prepared. But right now, Bitcoin is not giving me a bullish signal whatsoever. The EMAs on the MACD and the RSI right now, let's look at this RSI for a second. We could be due for a mean reversion play to the upside, maybe a short-term relief, given the fact that the purple line is way overextended, way far away from the yellow line, which means that we could get a bounce and get right back up to this level, or the price action could consolidate here and let the yellow line basically catch up to the purple line. That would be something that could be in the works, because generally speaking, the yellow and the purple want to stay close together, even though they sometimes, you know, spread apart a little bit. They want to eventually kind of meet up again. So they're pretty spread apart. We need to kind of see this get back to the mean, which means that the price action either is going to go sideways for the next little bit, allowing for the yellow line to catch up, or we're going to get a bit of a bounce to the upside and get a bit of relief. It's very, very possible. So let's pay attention here, but I honestly don't see that really happening with some strength, given that the MACD is looking quite bearish currently at the moment, and the overall sentiment in the market is somewhat bearish. We are currently potentially getting some support based on this area right here, this previous consolidation, and the VPVR, the volume profile right now, is giving us that signal that we are currently hitting a wall that we could get some support off of. Okay, so we're going to pay attention to this in the immediate short term. This consolidation could be one that gets a lot of people wrecked. People going long could go wrecked, people going short could go wrecked, and this is why I choose not to be trading Bitcoin currently at the moment. Okay, so Bitcoin for me is not giving it to me. I'm waiting for other opportunities. 4 hour, very oversold. Maybe we get that bounce based on the 4 hour time frame. Let's wait for some bullish divergence, some confirmations that we are getting that support, and then potentially wait for that reaction. Right now, it's basically trying to catch a falling knife, and it's quite dangerous. Okay, Bitcoin, at the end of the day, we know that if it breaks below, altcoins are going to be on sale, and those are the projects, those are the scenarios that I want to take full advantage of. Altcoins being undervalued could definitely give us an opportunity to pack fat bags for the bull run. We want to get a lot of exposure at every opportunity that we get, especially when they're undervalued and oversold, and that way in the bull run we can maximize our potential gains by having a lot of exposure at a healthy risk to reward ratio. If it does dip down, we're looking for those opportunities. All right, guys, the project for today, it's gaming narrative. Obviously, GFAL is the ticker. Games for a living, guys. What's happening here? And the reason why I I chose to talk about this project. Yes, there are a lot of dips. There's lots of opportunities there to, DCA, which, to be honest, there's no indication that they hit their bottom just yet. So I figured, why even talk about that, right? Let them hit a bottom. Let me get some confirmations of nice levels of support, and then we'll talk about bullish, buy the dip, accumulation type of projects. But right now, Gains for a Living is going sideways, pretty much. Like, it's not really going sideways, but it's somewhat going sideways. Let's look at the daily for a second and kind of get an idea of what the momentum is telling us. The MACD, MACD right now is coming down. It's not looking good. It does look a bit weak. EMAs are facing down, red histogram bars to the downside, pure dip to the downside. That's what we're basically seeing, while the price action is slightly dipping. Yes, it's slightly rolling over. No real major dip just yet. The structure has not been broken on the daily, which means that we need to break below where we are right now pretty much. This wick doesn't have much volume, but this area is the area that we need to watch out for. Look at the volume profile currently on the daily. Look at this massive empty spot of volume. There is some chop action right in between. There are some peaks over here in supply and demand that could act as support, but probability is that right around the zone is where we're going to have to look for that support. So what I'm going to do is correct this thicker white line, and let me try to correct it while I still see the VPVR showing me that signal. And look at this, even below it, if you exclude the price action, it kind of shows us a little bit of a different story. But look at that, like, honestly, like right around here, even a bit lower, could be safe to say that, look, we have a little bit of volume to act as support if we do come down here. And if we get down to this level, which is pretty much the breakout point out of this basically this breakout to the upside, it would be a backtest of the breakdown of the breakout to the upside. It would give us a bit of an opportunity to see the momentum fully reset to oversold scenarios. It would give us a good entry at lower levels. You didn't buy the tops at exit liquidity. And the reason why I'm pretty confident, obviously, it's all a game of probability, that this is the top, is all the confluence that we see here. We hit the 1.27 extension based on this impulse to the upside. We've hit a good level of basically a measured move of this, ascending wedge. The opening of the wedge is usually the measured move, which is this line right here. We pretty much hit it. We hit it pretty much on the dollar, and you can see, if I thicken it up, you can see what I mean. Look at this nice move. We hit it perfectly on the cent pretty much. So the measured move is done. The move is done for the most part. If we consolidate and go sideways here, we can get another impulsive move. But the daily, on the momentum side of things, doesn't look good. We're entering the chop zone, as you can see on the RSI. Let me kind of make it a bit bigger. We're entering the chop zone. We're kind of rolling over. The momentum didn't affect the price just yet, but we can consolidate here, pick up some more bids, and then get another impulsive move to get oversold. And based on the MACD, it's very likely that we continue to the downside. Now, do we have any price action looking left to worry about? This right here, this green arrow, and then after that, it's range lows. Basically, we have some bottoms here to act as support, which is right around the zone. A bit of a volume gap also to watch out for, and we have a bottom and a top and some areas around the zone. So I'm not saying Gains for a Living is going to come down here with absolute certainty, but I'm just saying, like, we don't know what the market is going to give us. We don't know how strong the momentum is going to be to the downside as it continues pushing down. So all we can do is prepare for the potential opportunities that the market could give us, which could be down to that level. So what am I saying? DCA, guys, if we do come down here, get a bit of exposure, because never know, especially if the daily is completely oversold, right? If we get in oversold conditions on the RSI, guys, at this, and we're around this level, I'll be spamming the buy button. If we get a fully oversold condition here on the RSI and we're down here, I'll be spamming the buy button. If we're oversold and that we're here, I'll be spamming the buy button. But if we are not oversold, I will not be spamming any buy buttons until we reach those oversold conditions, and then I'm going to be looking for horizontal support, right? So because if we don't, we're taking risk that we finally get oversold and that we can come down further. I want to see proof with the momentum that the bears are done pushing down. Once the bears are done pushing down, I'll be interesting. But at the end of the day, we haven't seen the bears even start pushing down just yet. This thing's holding up, going sideways. So let's talk about the bullish scenario for a second here, because I sound very bearish, and then the anticipation of coming down to lower levels obviously is taking over my strategy, because that's what I want. I want to be able to accumulate at low levels. But what about if it doesn't happen? And the only way I would get bullish and seeing the price action where it is if we get a full reset of momentum, even on the 4-hour, while this price action goes sideways. That could be a sense of neutralization. The momentum completely got neutralized based on the bullishness of this asset. Okay, now we do have token unlocks around the corner, which could introduce more supply, which are going to introduce more supply to in circulation, which technically, based on theory, should bring down the price. But guys, as long as demand outpaces the supply, we are going to continue seeing impulses to the upside. Every token unlock has been bought up and brought the price even higher. Okay, so this is something to consider. So oversold conditions, let's see how this price action holds up. If we come down, we'll buy the dips. If we see signs of bullish divergence on the 4-hour, after the daily gets oversold, I might consider dabbling in. Okay, so this might take here on the daily. Okay, let's get into the 4-hour for a second, see what's going on. You can see that we're trying to get oversold, and in fact, you know, we could argue that we've attempted and we almost got there, right? And look, we're in the chop zone again, and the price action didn't even dip, pretty much, like pretty sideways, you know, holding support on the 200 EMA on the 4-hour, and we have a little bit of a volume gap here, as you can see, as a weak spot that we could definitely fall right through and get down to the breakout point at about 0.019, basically 2 cents. If we do get here, if we're lucky enough to get here based on the daily momentum, I would be interested. But the 4-hour is not giving it to me. We're very choppy, and based on the daily, again, back to the daily for a second, we're entering the chop zone. The 4-hour is acting choppy. The likelihood is that we chop around here for a bit and see what happens, and then finally break down. Now, what could be the catalyst for a further continuation? A quick dip. Bitcoin, Ethereum, the large caps could bring a lot of FUD into the market that could cause this thing to roll over and come down, and that's when I will be buying the dip. So right now, think about this. If you're going long, you're going against the daily momentum. Okay, yes, we are in the chop zone, so we could go sideways, but you're still going against the daily momentum. This doesn't have to stop here and take a break like it has done in the past. Don't make those rules for yourself. Think about, at the end of the day, the momentum is to the downside, trajectory is to the downside. Yes, it could take a break, but maybe it could continue because it's still facing down. The trend is your friend, okay, both MACD and RSI. So to go long on the 4-hour is a bit counterintuitive given the daily's pushing down. So really what you're looking for is shorting positions. Have a short bias in this case, given that there's a lot of TA suggesting here that we should be rolling over. Volume gap, price discovery is really risky. Do people want to take more risk right now, given the fact that there's a lot of civil unrest in the world? Going long right now is very, very risky. Price discovery, there's no price action to act as any indication of where we could go and take profit. We're using pure Fibonacci, and that's not really a good or the only thing to use when you're doing trading. So it's a bit risky there. And then going short at the end of the day comes down, allows us to build confidence at lower levels, pick up more bullish bids, so that when we do go bullish, we have enough strength to impulse right through any resistance, previous resistance, based on the price action that we can see right here. Okay, so ultimately, coming down is a better scenario for gains for a living. I'm not saying the market has to promise us that, but the overall thesis is a lot stronger, thinking that we could come down and get those lower levels. Okay, so the daily pushing down, the 4-hour kind of consolidating, maybe we get that impulse. Let's look at the MACD. What's going on here? It's so confused. You got to admit, guys, there's no real consensus here, even on the MACD. We do see that the EMAs are facing down with red histogram bars to the downside, which, you know, as you guys know, in the bearish control zone, this is not a good signal, but there's not enough volume to suggest that market participants are interested in breaking this thing down. As you can see, look at this sideways or very, very small amount of volume here. Guys, if we break below the 200 EMA on the 4-hour and we start breaking below these structural supports, which is pretty much confluent with the 200 daily, you can see the volume gap is not going to give us enough support, and we could be coming down, and now would be interested at these lower levels. Guys, this is all I got, guys. This is a great scenario. We know the market in general, as a grand scheme of thing, is coming down, is showing us a lot of weakness. Gains for a living is not showing us that yet. So maybe we still have that opportunity to capitalize on profit taking or entering a short position here with proper risk management. Invalidation for a short is very clear. That's the good thing. I'm not saying to short it, but at least you can understand the theory here. Going short right here is basically saying getting in right around this zone. Let's put it in hypothetically right here. You put your stop loss right above these wicks, and then you take your profit, let's say at the bottom of the volume gap at the breakout point, right? Now you can look at this. This is a 2-to-1 ratio, not healthy. But if we get a short-term bounce to the upside and you get closer to invalidation based on your entry, you could probably get a better entry, improving your risk to reward ratio opportunity. And I gave a significant amount of wiggle room here, including those wicks right up top, to kind of give us an opportunity to give a little playroom just in case we get a few other impulsive moves to the upside. Guys, ultimately, I wouldn't be shorting, but I would be definitely looking for buy opportunities. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in the video, do the channel a huge favor, slap the like button. And of course, I'm live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that's a great time and place to make those requests, and I'll put those requests in top priority. Join the Discord, guys. It's a great community, lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, learning material, and all that good stuff. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.